You're up.
Let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of the football. It's a hell of a Football Friday. You're coming out of the holiday. You've got the game tomorrow down in Columbus, and you got the greatest of all time coming to town on Sunday at 1. Merely Bo, the great Z, Gibbe as well. How you living, buddy?
I'm fine. I'm just dealing with I had a lovely Thanksgiving yesterday. It was a great time. Feeling good, relaxing. Got my Griswold family Christmas sweatshirt on. I've moved on.
Sure.
I'm into full Christmas merriment. And the internet's not working in my house. As if I have anything to do with that. Gibbe
What's going on with your voice?
Yeah.
Blaming me. Who knows? I'm mad at Gibbe. That's what's happening.
Well, you got to get over it. I mean, it's fine. I mean, what our biggest concern is your voice.
Why? It's fine.
It feels like you're
It's a little gravelly.
raspy.
A little raspy.
Kind of sucks.
Living hard on Thanksgiving.
Did you live hard? You had a nice. Everybody had. You had a few cocktails. Worked some cocktails in yesterday.
Yeah, we had a few cocktails. Yeah, it was great. We had a lovely time, and the bird was actually a heck of a bird. Jack Hay crushed it on the bird, and it was a delight. We really had a great time.
Did you get a leg?
How about you? Of course, I got a leg.
Yeah, good job of you.
Mine was better than Adam
time.
Thielen's. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, wonderful time with the family. Everything was good. It was probably the best weather Thanksgiving that I can recall since moving to the Buckeye State. In that it was in the 50s and sunny. We got a lot of shots up. Played a lot of hoops, so that was a big win. That was fantastic. So I don't recall one better than that, where you could literally be outside all day.
Yeah, it was glorious. It was beautiful. We did some sitting out on the porch and whatnot, hanging out. Yeah, it was unbelievably just a perfect weather day. It really was. It was great. It was a great Thanksgiving. I was pleased with it. Other than a missed field goal costing us a perfect 3-0 on the day.
Grossness. Just grossness. Absolutely. Just hateful. Absolutely hateful. Gibby, you do good? Good holiday?
Great holiday. Good time. Started Wednesday night. Ran right into Thursday. Thursday night, great. It was a little late, but all good. Had a great time, and just like you said, I'm outside preparing food on the grill and on the griddle. Like, you can't go wrong. 57 degrees? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. And going to be this way throughout the weekend, right? Like, pretty great day today. It rained overnight, but good day today. Good day tomorrow.
Tomorrow's like 57 again.
Yeah, and Sunday's nice too, isn't it?
Not so much.
Could be some rain.
A lot of rain, actually.
Well, that could help us then with Touchdown Tommy coming to town.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to see that.
Tommy Bardell.
Sloppy Mud. Yeah, the great Tommy Bardell. Yeah. There's actually a kid who quarterbacks Montana State whose name is Touchdown Tommy Malott. So that's actually why it was in my head without going all the way back to Tommy Bardell. But yeah. They had we had all sorts of football yesterday. We've got big-time football this weekend. Ohio State, Michigan play tomorrow at noon in a game that you can hear right here on 850 ESPN Cleveland. It is just the fourth time that they've come in completely unblemished, both teams. And they've been playing for 118 years. That's a long time. And it's the eighth time they've come in undefeated. So it just doesn't happen that what you're going to get down in Columbus tomorrow. It's the 100th year of the horseshoe as well. There are only 8 players on Ohio State's team who have beat Michigan because there was the pandemic year where they didn't play it. So you have to go back to have guys who are on the roster in 2019 who played in a game where Ohio State beat Michigan because they didn't play in 20, and last year Michigan got them. So a lot on the line down there. And then, of course, we have Tom Brady coming in here on Sunday. Kind of an interesting week when you have the Thanksgiving holiday in the middle of it and to try to get ready for it. I'm curious how our coaches manage that, what that's all like.
So they just sped up the day on Thursday, basically. They moved practice up on Thursday so that everybody could be home, early in the day to be with their loved ones for Thanksgiving. So they got a normal Thursday of work. They just moved the schedule up, and then today will be a normal Friday, and they'll be – so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're still the same, just the timing of Thursday changed. That was it.
They actually should be wrapping up practice here in just a minute. So they're actually running a few minutes behind today, but
okay, a little extra in there.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and this will be. I think for me, my biggest hope for Sunday obviously is a win, but I I really hope that there's appropriate appreciation for Jacoby Brissett and what he's done this season for this franchise, because the next time that this team will practice next week, it'll be Deshaun Watson as quarterback one. And I know we're excited to see him play and all of that, but at the same time, like, this record is not on Jacoby Brissett, and he has been not only exemplary on the field, but off of it. He's been really tremendous, and you couldn't have found somebody better to handle all that was thrown a quarterback's way than Jacoby Brissett this season, both on and off the field.
Well, he's been great. He's been great for the Browns. He's been a great leader. He's done everything that you could have asked him to do on the field, off the field. And, he's been better. The fact is he's been better than a 3-7 quarterback. But that's the record of the Browns. We all know the reasons why. We've documented them well. But, yeah, Jacoby Brissett has been excellent for this football team, and he gets one more opportunity to go out there and do it. Number 6 in the league in QBR. I don't know if you saw the stat they put out about Dak Prescott's completion percentage over expected is 10% higher than expected, which is the best since he's come back in Week 7. Second best in the NFL. You know who first is? Jacoby Brissett. I mean, the guy's just been playing phenomenal football, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and so I hope that I think it'll be a special one for him. Obviously, he was drafted by the Patriots, and part of that organization Tom was there, so I'm guessing it'll be special for him to play in that game as well. So that kind of sets the stage of what it can be. We'll see if the weather's an issue. I guess it feels like this thing changes about every 24 hours, so now it's looking rainy on Sunday. In terms of the rest of the league, we had 3 good ones yesterday, 2 really good ones, and the Cowboys one kind of had a backdoor, but it was good for a half as well. Pretty rare that you get good games for Thanksgiving Thursday, but the NFL delivered yesterday.
Yeah, they sure did. And, the Buffalo-Detroit game came down to the wire. The Bills did kind of what we thought they would do, kind of sleepwalked through it. They won when they needed to. Detroit's got a lot of moxie, and they really competed, and I thought it was a fun game to watch, except that I was playing against Amon-Ra St. Brown in fantasy. That wasn't fun. And then I thought, the Dallas game, it looked initially like Dallas was going to struggle, and they really poured it on in the second half. And then I just like watching the Vikings play because Justin Jefferson, every single game, is making ridiculous catches look routine. Every game. All of them. And Good Cousins is really good.
Good Cousins is really good. Jefferson's outrageous. I also think, though, that Minnesota defense is bad. They gave up 40 to Dallas, and they made Mac Jones look like Tom Brady, and he ain't it.
No, he certainly is not. It's a good point that you make there, that the Vikings, in this one they didn't really run the ball well, which was surprising. New England, though, they did a good job against us, so that's probably what they set out to do. But you're right. It was just too easy for them to throw the football, especially, Devontae Parker had a nice game, Aguilar, Hunter Henry. It was honestly, I think, their best passing game as a team since they played us.
Yeah, with Bailey Zappi.
300-plus through the air. That's not something they do very often. So, that side of it was bad, obviously. But, Minnesota, it's rare that you make a move at the deadline that pays such immediate dividends. But T.J. Hawkinson was such a great get for them. I still don't understand.
I don't understand
why Detroit would let him go in their division of all things. It just a stupefying one. But the Vikings, solid, know how to win. Come back 10-0 in the fourth quarter for the win over Belichick, which was incredible.
Yeah, they got it done. And, I think big picture in the NFC, and we'll get a look at a team here on Sunday that feels like they're in the mix as well. It's interesting. I think the 2 teams that I like the most right now are San Francisco, which we've talked about a lot.
Yep.
But the Niners I like the most, and I might like Dallas second right now, even more than Philly, based on the way that they're playing. And I think if they could get Odell Beckham Jr. in there, and my hunch is that's where he ends up.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. That he could give them a little bit of juice here for the stretch run and provide them kind of a little bit of what he gave to the Rams a year ago, where he's kind of like a little bit of a boost here towards the end of the season. I like that Dallas team even more than Philly, I think, right now.
I'm with you. I like the Dallas team. Dak's playing well. Pollard is excellent.
Yeah.
You got CeeDee Lamb's playing at a very high level, which we kind of expected him to do as this season progressed. And their defense is unbelievable in their ability to get after a quarterback and harass them with Parsons and Lawrence. So yeah, I'm with you. I like them. It's weird. I just feel like I don't trust them in a big game just because I think it's been so long since we've seen the Dallas Cowboys team actually come through in a big game situation. But no, they've got everything on paper that you would need to be a team of consequence. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, they do. I also think I give a lot of credit to the Detroit operation from a buy-in standpoint. They've been fighting for a month now. They're not getting the result. They missed the field goals. That's absolutely brutal. But at the same time, they are in the fight, man. Week in and week out, they're in the fight, and they have some nice pieces, and they've got a lot of draft capital going into next year's draft, where if they hit on these picks, they're going to get Jamison Williams back. He's practicing this week. They'll get him back at some point. They got to make a long-term decision on Goff. My hunch is that they will move off of him, but I don't know if they'll address quarterback this year, if they'll wait till next. Hard to say.
He's played well for them, right?
He has, but bad pick
he's
on
limited.
third and short. Yeah, he's just limited. He's kind of like he's certainly good enough to be a playoff quarterback and all of that. The question is he too good for them to be in a position to draft a quarterback high again? That's kind of the spot that they'll be in, I think, this year. On the year, 64% completions, 17 touchdowns, 7 picks.
It's not bad.
No, it's fine. He's an average NFL quarterback. So it's right in the middle of the road a little bit. But everything else they have, you like.
That's why getting rid of Hawkinson made no sense. You could have had Hawkinson with Williams and Swift and Williams, and it would have been wild there. Little Browns news coming in right now. Greg Newsome has been ruled out for the game against the Buccaneers with a concussion. On the other side, a big injury for them. Vita Vea is a game-time decision. Did not practice the first 2 days, limited today, and they said they're going to test him out and see if he can go on Sunday. That if he doesn't play, that would be huge for the Browns.
For Tampa, Gedke and Russell Gage are both out. The other good news on that Browns front, everybody else, according to Coach downstairs, everyone else is good to go Sunday, which is great because Wyatt Teller went from limited on Wednesday to DNP Thursday.
Yep.
So sounds like he's going to be ready to go, and I feel like a lot of people are healthy here going into Sunday, which is good.
It's good. I mean, at this point, every game's a must-win. It feels like that. So you want to be at full strength.
It is that. And then if it's sloppy and in the mud, then you like the feeling there if you can run the ball because they're going to be going with the kid, aren't they?
Rashad White looks like Fournette's got a hip. He will also be a game-time decision. But all the commentary coming out of Tampa this week, Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator, was talking about how White is ready now to handle the full load. He wasn't ready early in the season. We saw it last week, over 20 carries, over 100 yards, career high against Seattle, or 2 weeks ago, when they were in Munich. And so he's going to be the guy for them this week, Yeah.
So we haven't really – we got to get going a little bit too. We couldn't get the ground game going last time out. So we've got to be able to run the ball a little bit, and hopefully Wyatt coming back allows for that. I don't think – it feels like it's – have we had a game this year where both Kareem and Nick went off?
No, you'd have to go back. You'd have to go back early in the season and kind of say in his role, he had a very nice game. Did Kareem Hunt against Carolina? But there have not been a lot of games where we have been, to your point, rolling on the ground, where we would have the games like last year where Chubb would have 120, Kareem would have 80 on 12 carries, something like that. That hasn't happened this year.
No. I mean, it's for Kareem to be healthy and to be at 346 on the season, a little under 4 yards a carry, just 35 yards a game is that's surprising compared to what I thought it would be at this point.
Yeah, he had 70 total yards and 2 touchdowns against Carolina week 1, and Chubb was like 140. Against the Jets, he had 74 total yards. Those are the 2 highs of the season. He had 72 total yards in the win over Cincinnati, which you would say both of them did well in. But, yeah, it's been a very strange season, especially for Kareem. He has not reached 60 yards on the ground in a single game this year. He has reached 50 yards only once, and in the last 5 games, he has been below 15 yards 3 times.
Right?
Yeah.
Just strange. the way that is all kind of broken a little bit. I will say this, that I don't know why it took me this long to get to this point. You probably got me thinking in this direction on just your overall feelings about turkey in general. But I do think we have reached the point in America where on Thanksgiving we got to get some beef in the mix somewhere, whether that's a tenderloin or a ribeye or
I'm not against
some prime rib. I feel like we need a little beef in the mix because I mean, it was a wonderful Thanksgiving meal, but it is also it's a limiting operation.
Yes.
And I think we're all trying to do too much. There's too many sides that everyone's trying to do. So the bird, sometimes who knows what happens with the bird. I think we got to streamline this operation a little bit and not be married just to this bird every year.
I'm with you from a culinary standpoint. I understand the tradition of it, and I'm curious to hear from the Hoff how his operation worked out with the sous vide breasts and then the smoked legs and wings and the crisp skin. I think that sounds like that could be a real win. But I got to tip my cap to Jack K, Miss K's mom. It was a heck of a bird she made. It was a heck of a bird.
Now, did you venture into the white meat at all?
Yeah, it was actually moist. But
wow.
I lived predominantly with the dark meat and even had a leg. I know, shocking. It was
so
stupefying. Hard. Yeah, rare. Good. It was an incredible job.
Yeah, my grandmother used to cook the bird upside down, and then she also had a turkey oven that she cooked it in. And so that allowed for the juices to flow through the breast. But typically, it's just really hard to get that to have a little bit of moisture.
No doubt. So that part was a treat.
Did have a gluten-free stuffing that cousin Alyssa made that was – or not cousin, sister Alyssa made that was a stunning achievement. I mean, it was –
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there was no – I felt like it wasn't a step down from the normal stuffing, and I liked the flavors in the stuffing. So the ability for it to be gluten-free, what a job out of her.
Sounds delightful.
To throw that out at the mix. So good job out of her on that one. So – that was a win. Also had a banana cream pie, which was a win. I love when that's an option. Banana cream or coconut cream.
Nana made a great banana pudding last night that was just delightful.
DQ ice cream cake because it was my kid's boyfriend's 21st birthday.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that became an option. I was like, all right, we'll go with that.
No, I don't know what the heck took my wife so long on this, but she would always go to like cake places for the boy's birthday, have someone like bake a cake. I'm like, listen, go to Dairy Queen. That thing's
all anybody wants.
It's all there. It's one delivery mechanism.
Ice cream, cake, all in one.
Connected. Huge win. All right, it is a Friday edition. We have the scores that we will get to, of course, as we go along. We have your over-unders as well. Gibby made a run last week, so you have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. We've got a little higher loader. Poor Sal will join us a little bit later for that. Get you your forecast for Sunday, which could be a little bit dodgy, so you have that to look forward to, which is nice. We're off and running here on a Football Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The official printer partner of your Cleveland Browns.
You're up.
Browns to win, you can always depend on OBM. They'll tackle any size office. The number is 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. And if you're going to the game on Sunday, how about Cleveland Kids? The Cleveland Browns and the U.S. Marine Corps will host their annual Browns Give Back First and 10 Toy Drive. It's presented by Electronic Merchant Systems to benefit Toys for Tots at First Energy Stadium prior to Sunday's game against the Bucs. Browns fans encouraged to bring new unwrapped gifts, $10 plus for kids in need within Cuyahoga County. U.S. Marine Corps Merchant Systems volunteers will collect items and monetarily those contributions as well at First Energy Stadium gates as fans enter the stadium beginning at 11 a.m. All right, time for a little bit on this matchup. Dr. Z, give me the one offensive matchup the Browns have to take advantage of to put themselves in position to win on Sunday.
Well, you're looking at this defense, and they get after the quarterback. Vitavia, if he is out, obviously that'd be a big blow. He leads their team with 6.5 sacks. This is it's a good football team. You kind of go through Jamil Dean, their corners playing at an elite level right now. Pro Football Focus is number 8 corner. Winfield's the number 6 safety. Mike Edwards has 3 pick sixes the last 2 seasons, most in the NFL. Carlton Davis is playing well. If there's one person that's struggling, though, a little bit, it is the nickel, Sean Murphy-Bunting, giving up 80% completions, 110 rating when targeted. And Devin White is, while he's doing everything, 76 tackles, 8 tackles for loss that leads the team. He's got 22 pressures as a linebacker. He's got second with 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, but he's struggling in coverage. This is a tough football team to run on. Without Shaq Barrett, their pass rush, Anthony Nelson's a big step down there. But I think the advantage you have to try to get to is you got to try to establish a run. We need to do it. That's who we are. But when we throw it, Devin White in the middle of the field, somebody we can get after. Levante David still playing at a very high level, number 4 linebacker, Pro Football Focus. But then the nickel, Sean Murphy-Bunting. So if you can get creative, get Amari Cooper inside on Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think that is certainly something that we could take advantage of.
How many games? Obviously, we're a pretty unique team in terms of what we want to do. How has this Buccaneers defense fared? I'm curious. I'm looking this up right now, just how they've fared against teams that want to run it the way that we want to run it. Looking at their overall here.
Yeah,
they lost to the Ravens. That's probably the only team that has a similar approach to it.
Yeah, but their run defense, their run attack is obviously so different than ours. You look through this Bucs team, and for a while they had the longest streak of not allowing a 100-yard rusher in the NFL. That obviously has been broken, but they're still a tough team to run against because they're just so big up front, and Vitavia just eats up so much space and is so good at getting upfield and working against your interior of your offensive line, which is our strength. So here's what running backs have done against them so far this year. The Cowboys, 16 for 60. Saints, 16 for 84. The Packers, 24 carries, 68 yards, 2.3. The Chiefs had 154 yards rushing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 19 carries, 92. But, again, you can't compare the Chiefs because that's the last thing that they're worried about. The Carolina Panthers had Dante Foreman ran 15 times for 118 yards. Chuba Hubbard, 9 for 63. They rushed for 176 yards. That was the biggest one. And then you mentioned the Ravens. Their running backs, Drake, 7 for 62. Gus Edwards, 11 for 65. But obviously they're worried about in that game. They're more worried about what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. Here's the one that's a little concerning. They just held Kenneth Walker to 10 carries for 17 yards in Munich. And Kenneth Walker is obviously a very good player. But for the season, running backs are averaging 91 yards a game, 4.5 yards a carry.
It's pretty interesting when you look at what they've done this season and sometimes what they haven't. And those 2 losses back-to-back, they lost at Pittsburgh and at Carolina back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
How in the hell? They scored 3 points at Carolina. That was when Weiss had just been named the interim, and Carolina was all fired up to play for him. But to only score 3 points against that Carolina team coming off of the loss to Pittsburgh is crazy when you look at what they are.
Yeah, stupefying. And, even when you go back to their Super Bowl winning season, they kind of sleepwalked a little bit through the beginning of the year and then turned it on after. Remember, they got blown out by Green Bay?
Yeah.
And then they didn't lose again. It feels like a team that has the talent to do that. Now, they're without, key pieces on the line. The center, Ryan Jensen, is out. and they haven't had him all year. They've been without some guys on the back end of the defense, as well. They're hurt, obviously, Shaq Barrett, who, had a couple of years. He's got 37.5 sacks at 3 seasons prior to this one, 3 sacks already this year. They're good. They aren't dynamic, though, and I think that's what has been the biggest issue for them. Brady's averaging 9.9 yards a completion this year, which is the lowest of his career. It's the lowest yards per catch of Mike Evans' career, of Chris Godwin's career. They're not really pushing it down the field at all. Julio Jones leads the team 16.2 yards a catch, but they're not a dynamic team in any way, shape, or form. Their running backs are both under 4 yards a carry. As I said, they're under 10 yards a pass. They don't stress defenses vertically. At least they have not so far this year.
Well, that gets into our defensive matchup, the one that we must win on Sunday, brought to you by Evolve Technology. Evolve Technology powers best-in-class security for the Cleveland Browns. What is that matchup? And then I got a follow-up question on some of the comments you just made on their pass game.
We got to stop the run. I mean, that's the bottom line. It all starts there. And I realize that, in today's NFL, more often than not, right, it's more about can you, limit the big plays in the passing game. Well, that's just not what they have done so far this year. So that is of less concern. Obviously, that's always a top priority, limiting big plays. But I really think in this one, it's can you stop the run? Because teams and they were noting it on the broadcast yesterday in the Bills game, Singletary and Cook both season highs against the Browns. That's something that you can't operate when it's that easy, when it's 5 yards a carry before people are taking contact. And if you looked at the way that they approached that game against the Seattle Seahawks, that was kind of their commitment, was we're going to run the ball, and that's going to be that. So we've got to make sure, the Browns, that we don't let it be that easy, because that's when Brady can maybe get some of those big plays down the field and take a shot over your head, because that has not been what he's been about so far this year.
Do you think that's, as you've done the film work and lead up to this game, has he lost his fastball a little?
No, he's actually been pretty effective on throws down the field, but he's only doing it 10% of his dropbacks, which is 25th in the league when you think about that. He's 16 of 43 on the deep ball, 37% completion, not great. 472, it's 10 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown, no interception. So I don't know that he's lost the heater. I think he gets the ball out quickly, and they don't have a run-by-you guy. Evans is a big physical contested guy. Godwin works a lot of short intermediate stuff. Their tight end, Cade Otton, is nice. He leads all rookie tight ends in receptions and yards, but they're just not a dynamic team. That's what stands out to me more than anything. And their line, Tristan Wirfs is playing great. Shaq Mason is playing great, the guard. But the left side, Donovan Smith is struggling. And then Luke Gedeke, who is out, their second round of this year was terrible. They're starting an undrafted free agent at left guard, Nick Leverett, and he's been struggling. So I do think part of it's the line, too. He just likes to get the ball out quick so that he doesn't take any hits right there. But Gibby looks at me. My headset fell off, Gibby, sorry. But that's really, for this team, that's just what it is. They're not dynamic at all.
No, they're not, and it's interesting. That's a heavyweight fight. Now, how much I'm trying to think, like Miles versus Wirfs. That's kind of all pro right there when they hook up. Is that something we'll see often on Sunday?
Yeah, I would imagine you'd want to move Miles on the other side. Wirfs so far this season, no sacks, only 3 pressures allowed all year. Pro Football Focus' number 4 overall tackle, and there's a lot of stuff in this game where there are going to be comparisons, right? Tristan Wirfs was taken 3 spots after Jed Wills in that draft. Antoine Winfield, who also went to the Pro Bowl a year ago, was taken the pick immediately after Grant Delpit in that draft, and he's been a tremendous playmaker for that team. So, yeah, there are some of those questions, but yeah, that's a strength versus strength matchup. My guess is, though, you're going to want Wirfs to be occupied with Clowney, and you're going to try to get Myles Garrett on Donovan Smith or Nick Leverett coming off that left side.
Yeah, that would seem to be it, and you got to have a big one out of him. Your best players need to have a big one if you want to hold on to this glimmer of a hope of playing games that matter with Deshaun Watson, other than just the fact that they matter because Deshaun Watson is there. The 7 losses already in that L column, no more can be had if you're going to try to peddle that hope over the course of the rest of this season when Watson does return next week. It's an odd place for this team, ours I'm talking about.
Totally.
When you think about the holiday week, Brady coming in here, we haven't been at home in a while, and then that Watson's coming next week. So it's just I don't know what the hell to expect I bet. I'm sure it was like that for you yesterday on Thanksgiving. Like, well, how's it going to go? I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I mean, I could see us playing inspired and playing well and having it a game and maybe pulling it out. As we've said, I don't think that this is no Super Bowl Buccaneers team by any stretch. No. I could also see us getting hammered. I could see it being close. I think there's a wide array of what this thing could look like on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know if they're good enough, hopefully, to hammer us. I think that they're, like I said, they're just not dynamic. I hope we play inspired football. I hope we send Jacoby Brissett out properly. I hope we get him a big win. We keep the season alive. We get some excitement going down to Houston next week for Deshaun's debut. But this is a hard team to figure out, right?
It is.
Because we've done so many things that we set out to do in particular games, and then we still lose them. And so that's what's been frustrating. The turnovers, whether it's Nick Chubb uncharacteristically fumbling in Miami territory, where you're at your fourth-string center and you have a bad center quarterback exchange as a result of that in Buffalo Bills territory last week. So many little things have added up to big things and cost this football team in games that it should have won, and they ended up not winning.
On that note, you mentioned fourth-string center Yelda Froholt, good to go and has been there all week, so that's a positive.
Yeah, he's good to go. And then Mance is here, who has 32 career starts now. He'll back him up. But, he's still very new to our system, obviously. It's not a great situation there. Posick was playing so well. That's a big loss. Nick Harris, this was supposed to be his season. Michael Dunn had played well. All of a sudden, that's how quickly it goes. But you got everybody else. All your other starters will be there. No other injury designations on that line, not for Teller nor for Jack Conklin. So we need to go out there and we need to do it. We need to go have a strong game. If they are without Vita Vea, that really hurts them up front because Akeem Hicks he really has not been who he was. He's obviously in his 11th season, and this guy was a Pro Bowler back in 2018, but he hasn't really done much for them this year, although he missed 6 games with a foot injury. He has not done a lot. William Golston seems to be kind of well past his prime at this point for them. So Vita Vea is the guy that kind of makes it go up front. And if he's out, that would be a massive, massive loss. I mean, 6.5 sacks, and he had the forced fumble, if you remember, against Green Bay at the goal line where he dropped in the zone and then crushed the guy right as he caught it, like a linebacker in a zone drop, and forced the ball out. He's been just tremendous so far.
Yeah, it's just as it is. I mean, it's an interesting part in the season for us. It's an interesting part in the franchise for them. As they have some older guys, it feels like this is it for Brady one way or another. Either he'll be done in Tampa Bay or he'll be done, period. Seeing all sorts of rumors about him and Sean Payton hooking up somewhere else or that trying to be something that happens next year. I don't know where that would be, where the dance partners would be on all of that. But he is 45 years old, approaching 46. Yeah. And, how much longer do you go? And if it doesn't feel like it's here. But then as I say that, I don't know where it would be. So it's an interesting spot for them. And they have this mix of, these veteran guys who signed up for Super Bowls and then a couple of these young stars that are kind of mixed in. But, we've obviously matched up with this division this year. And you look at this division, you think, my goodness, if one of these teams got a quarterback and you could get turned in a second. I mean, Atlanta could do that. New Orleans could do that. This team wouldn't be that far.
Carolina could do that.
Carolina too,
they got a great D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to hit on that piece because right now none of them have a future at the position ironed out.
No, and that's what's so interesting about this division. One thing that is kind of going through it that I noticed, they did a pretty good job drafting. You look at their secondary, their starting secondary, all home drafted. Wow. Jameel Dean was in a third-round 19. Sean Murphy-Bunting, second-round 19. Winfield, second-round 2020. Edwards, third-round 2019. Carlton Davis, second-round 2018. They drafted Vita Vea in the first round. They drafted Devin White in the first round. They drafted Levante David all those years ago. They drafted Joe Tryon. They've done a pretty good job in terms of actually building this thing at home.
Yeah.
And then you kind of acquired, as you mentioned, kind of the guys who have come in. But, their stars, Godwin was drafted by them. Mike Evans was drafted by the Bucs. They did a pretty good job. I think that's what speaks out to their track record, that they were able to add in these veterans because they did such a good job drafting.
They were also really smart and able to pivot off of Winston.
Yes.
I mean, because they drafted Winston number 1 overall, and there was times when you thought, he was a 5,000-yard passer.
Yeah.
And they were smart enough that obviously this opportunity, nobody saw this opportunity coming with Brady, but they had drafted really well, to your point, around Winston, and to the point where if they just paratroop somebody in, and then the somebody they get is the greatest of all time, and it nets them a Super Bowl. So you're right. This is a homegrown team, and the crazy thing is, if Winston would have been who they thought he was when he was drafted, it would have been a homegrown team who's here for the long haul.
For a long time, absolutely.
Yeah, because they hit on everything else.
They really did. It's kind of actually impressive when you look at it. The guys they draft, like for example, they drafted Wirfs, they drafted Ryan Jensen, went to the Pro Bowl last year. They drafted Donovan Smith. The principal people in their operation were homegrown, home drafted.
Yeah, incredible. Hey, Browns fans, enter for your chance to win Browns tickets, free Milk-Bone dog treats for a year and more. It's all courtesy of Milk-Bone, the official dog treat of the Cleveland Browns. Visit browns.com/milkbone to enter, then visit your local Meijer to check out all the varieties of Milk-Bone dog treats. We hit a little over and under coming up next. Gibby on a bit of a heater. We get to that.
Oh, Gibby.
You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. experience.
You're up.
Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is our area's premier bath and shower remodeler. Experts and factory-trained installers. You give them a call now at 216-220-8399, and you get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. Also check them out at bathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. The largest selection of bath projects. They're all made right here in America. Pretty good stuff. Those tub-to-shower conversions, they can take care of you on that as well. Superior products with expert installers at thebathauthority.com at 216-220-8399. Is there a great Thanksgiving movie before we get to over-unders?
Not one that I have at the top of my head. There's no Thanksgiving movie tradition in my.
Yeah, you're looking for something.
Yeah.
And like football. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is typically
sure.
Yeah, football, right? But like the kids were tapped out on that, and I don't think Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is probably not Bootsy approved.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think
I haven't seen it in a long, long time. But there really isn't. There isn't one. So you tend to go right into the. I guess you go right into Christmas. Away we go. The sprint is here for that.
Charlie Brown
Let's go.
Thanksgiving. I'm going.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's the deal on that, Gibbe. That is off. It was not on this year. So PBS apparently bought it last year and then ran it once. And then now it's only available on Apple TV.
Huh.
They're the only, they bought up the
stupidity.
Yeah. They bought up the Peanuts franchise, I guess.
There's something. So menshealth.com has the 30 best Halloween movies of all time.
Thanksgiving,
The New
you mean?
World in 2005. And it doesn't look like a
Nothing.
happy, fun-filled Thanksgiving movie.
No, probably not.
The Ice Storm in 1997. No idea. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Here we go. Number 5. There's a movie called Knives Out.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. But it's not a Thanksgiving movie. It has nothing to do with Thanksgiving. Does it have anything to do with Thanksgiving? Is that around the time of year it takes place? That's a murder mystery, Knives Out.
Knives Out is?
Yeah, it's good. It's actually a good
Is it?
movie. Yeah.
That's Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Home for the Holidays from 95. Robert Downey Jr. is in it. Anne Bancroft, Charles Dunning. I have no idea.
I got nothing. It feels like they play it feels like that you get some Indiana Jones on cable this time of year. And yesterday I noticed as I was flipping around, The Godfather was on. Like you kind of run out those old standards.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Classics.
But I haven't seen it because those you can pop in and out if the football game's bad.
Grumpy Old Men. There's
Gosh,
a Thanksgiving
that's great.
scene.
Well, see, there you go. You got a bird in it. That's all you need.
Scent of
all
a
right,
Woman.
boys, you ready? What was that?
Scent of a Woman.
Oh, there you go. Because that's the whole premise, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Also not Bootsy approved.
No.
What about Paul Blart Mall Cop?
No, thanks.
Can't believe I'm going to spend time doing that.
I can't do this. I'm losing brain cells. Stupid.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Time for some over-unders. So your records last week. Gibbe, 4-1.
Wow.
Last week on the over-unders.
Is the one I missed the one I always miss?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the only one you missed. Is the one you always actually all three of you missed the one that you always missed, the sacks, interceptions, and fumbles. So Gibby went 4-1. Zagura 2-3. So you picked up a couple. You thought it was going to be a disaster. It was not. In fact, the disaster was reserved for the Hoff, who, to my knowledge, I'd have to go back and look at our very strict and copious records. I don't recall an 0-5 happening very often.
No.
The
That's
Hoff
usually
went
reserved for me.
And even you usually are a 1-4.
Yeah.
That means I'm back in first place, baby.
The kids in first place after the Hoff's 0-5. So Zagura is 28-22.
Yes.
The Hoff is 27-23.
Yes.
And then get it, inching closer to 500 at 24-26. So you're getting right there, buddy.
Give it right there.
I'll screw it up this week.
Yeah, you're right. You're right there. All right. We'll start where we always do. This has become a really tricky one to handicap. Gibby got it right last week. The other two did not. And that is the total touches for Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Early in the season, you will recall that we would be 35.5.
Yeah.
And we would go over.
Crush it.
35.5 would be pretty constant. Last week we were at 29.5, and it went under.
Yeah.
And the only one that got that right was Gibbe.
Gibbe.
This week we are going to stay right there at 29.5 with the slop. Over under total carries, total touches for Chubb and Hunt, and we will start with last week's champion, Gibbe.
Did you say 27.5?
29.5.
I'm going to go over. I don't like it. I don't feel good about it, but it has to happen if the weather is going to be garbage.
Segura?
I like it. I'm with Gibbe. Over. Hopefully Vea doesn't play, and we can just run the ball right down their throats. Tinkin' Troats.
Next!
Over or under?
The greatest of all time is walking into the building. He will be near a statue of one of the other greatest of all time, the great Autogram. And very possibly, and I would think maybe likely, the last chance you'll have to see Tom Brady play in Cleveland. We're looking for Tom Brady passing yards, Dr. Z. The number we set is 265.5. Tom Brady
Over.
passing yards, 265.5. Over?
Over. He would be, what you've set there, he would have gone under 4 times this season, over 6, so it's a fair number that you've set. He's gone over 3 the last 4 weeks. I think that he goes over that number. It'll be interesting. They're going to run the ball. We know that. He went from averaging basically like 50 attempts a game to just 29 against Seattle, but was 22 at 29 for 258, 2 touchdowns, really his best performance of the year other than the game against the Chiefs where he threw for 385 and 3 touchdowns. But I think he hits that number against us. That's a good number for him.
Give it.
I'm going to go under. Not by much, but I feel like under.
All right. Very
Staying with the
very
weather
fair.
theme. And we're going to have to prove that we can actually stop the run.
Right, which to this point
Yes.
we have not.
Yeah.
Which gets us to our next one. Next!
Over or under?
The young Rashad White in here at running back for Tampa Bay. Obviously, we have been gashed by running backs. There's not a whole lot of precedent to go through for him in that he hasn't played that much, but people tend to like him a lot. We're going for his rushing yardage total, Gibbe, and the number we set is 101.5.
I'm going to go under because I still think Fournette will be a part of this before it's all said and done. I think that somehow, some way, because teams do this when they play us, their players all of a sudden magically get healthy 40 hours before a game, and then they show up and ball out. So I'm going to go under because I think Fournette will show up.
It's interesting. So Gibbe's got unders on both the running back and Brady. I went over on Brady, and I'll also go over on the running back. I think that's a good number. I'll go over on that.
All right, very good.
I feel like one of those two I'm going to get. We'll
You'll have to get. I think it's a solid
I
hedge.
agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about any of these, and I think maybe I'm reading into the weather too much, but
Yeah, it's not like going to be the worst weather. I don't think.
The forecast this morning made it sound like it could be.
It's still warm though, right? It's not like
40,
30s.
upper 40s.
Yeah.
But
so that should be
we're supposed
okay.
to get an inch of rain and 25 to 30 mile an hour winds. That
Ooh,
changes things.
well, that wind could be a problem, certainly. Next!
Over or under?
Gentlemen, we're looking for sacks, interceptions, and fumbles. The combined number we are looking for this week is 3.5. This one's to you, Dr. Zagura.
Under, and be happy to reverse jinx it and will it to be an over, but I'm going to take the under there. They don't turn the ball over, and they don't get sacked.
Give it.
Same. I under. Show me state. I'm open for business. You got to show me. I keep getting burned
All right.
on that.
Next!
Over or under?
All right, gentlemen, last one. The actual over-under, 43.5. 43.5 is your number. Give it.
What was the number?
43.5.
Over. Just to buy a little bit, but over.
Z?
Same. Over.
All right. So it will come down to those Brady White numbers for the two of you. I will get the Hoffs off air and get he's going to be shocked to find out that he went over.
Yeah, he's going to be very sad.
And he's in
It's gonna be
second
sad
place.
Hoff.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a sad Hoff.
No, nobody wants that. All right, coming up in the second hour of the program, we've got a little bit of higher or lower, better or worse. Poisel will join us. We've got scores as well. It's going to be pure joy, I do anticipate. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Part of the family. Visit Rumpke.com to learn more. We were just saying in the break, USA England has kicked off at the World Cup over in Qatar, and it is a crazy thing to shoehorn this in amidst all this football, and to try to have like this would be something if this is in July, as Gibby was saying off air, like you're at a bar, you're having it's one of those things, and now it's like, oh yeah, this is on.
Yeah, it's an afterthought. It's sad. I am
It is
not,
sad.
I'm sure the ratings are great, whatever, but it is not fun to try to watch this during a football season.
No. It's going to get lost, I think. And the ratings are good, but keep in mind, anytime they show World Cup ratings, it's in the United States ratings, it's usually it'll be the Fox broadcast and the Univision broadcast. They put those numbers together.
Of course.
Like I think the early games are around 8 million or something like that, but I think a lot of that was probably half of it was made up from Univision viewers. So we are in a royal blue, which is odd to me. We almost look like France. Or Italy, even.
Yeah.
That's not our traditional – that's usually not the way we go about our business. Typically how we go about our business is we do a little higher, lower. That was kind of – we had so much going on this week that we haven't gotten to it until now. So we will do a little higher, lower right now. Presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from Ohio Lottery. Reminds you to set time and spending limits when you gamble. Our good buddy AP is here. Poisal is here. Good to see you. Did you have a good Thanksgiving, pal?
Absolutely, and Gibbs can attest to that too. Thanks so much for the invite yesterday, Gibbs. We had a great time. Played some games, none of which I won, and had some good drinks. So it was a great time.
At one point, my brother-in-law looks over. He goes, "You got to keep inviting these employees. I love taking their money. This is great."
Yep.
We did get into some games yesterday. I have a little euchre, obviously, but we also did a Cards Against Humanity with Nana.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
I can't even bring myself to say what – I wouldn't be able to say it on the air, but Nana actually put in the worst card of the day, and everybody was stunned. At one point I got up, I go, if you put that card in there, Mom, I'm leaving, before we knew it was her, and she just waved at me bye-bye. I was like, no way.
No.
And even Miss K's dad was like, no way, you could not have done that. And she says, I did. We're playing, aren't we? Oh baby.
No.
It's a good game, though. It's a good game.
I've never played that game.
Oh, dude, it is great.
Is there a kids version?
No.
Apples to
yeah,
apples?
like apples to apples.
Yeah.
Yeah, apples to apples.
Apples to Apples is what it's called?
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity.
That's a good game
make
too.
You,
Yeah.
Oh, there's some rough stuff in there, brother.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
It's hilarious though.
All
God
right.
bless Nana.
So we missed
Nana.
out earlier this week on the whole higher or lower thing, and it got pushed back to Wednesday, and then we didn't have a show Thursday. We've had 3 games. Hard to tell who's higher or lower because 6 teams have played already.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my task for the 3 of you is putting together the top 10 in the NFL right now, but each one of you will get 3 picks in this top 10.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Bishop will lead off with who should be number 1, Poisal number 2, Zagura number 3, and then back to Bishop all the way to number 10, and then 3 of you will come up with the number 10 team.
We don't even get a snake right here. I don't even get 3 and 4.
Nah.
Outrageous.
Your internet sucked. I'm worried about
Well,
it.
we're
going
just
out.
all we're doing is
I
coming
know, I'm
up
kidding.
with
Yeah.
we're coming up with our 10, right?
Yes.
Like our collective 10.
Yes.
So I lead
Yeah.
this off.
Yeah, you would say
It's-
who you would
it's-
put at number 1.
Yeah. Kansas City. Kansas City's won, and they're won, I think, by a decent margin right now. I don't even mind the Clyde Edwards-Helaire injury. I think there's just more ways they're going to start to click. I actually think they might be better without him. I still think that there are too many smart people we talked to at the Combine in the lead up to the season who love Sky Moore to think that he is not going to be something for them down the
some
stretch. I think
point,
there's
yeah.
another gear for their offense to get to. Mahomes is playing the best football of his life. That's usually a pretty terrifying thing. I think they're number 1 with a bullet. I don't even – this isn't even one where I got to think about it. It's them. It feels like a little bit like seconds, eighths right now. Not to say that it will be by the end of the year, but right now where they are, I like Kansas City by a wide margin.
Number 2 goes to Anthony Poisal.
Yeah, I don't think there's any debate with what you were saying about the Chiefs, but maybe there's a little bit of debate here with the Bills now just because of all the injuries that have happened on defense. But I still think they're the number 2 team on this list right now. A lot of close games for them recently, but I mean I still see them beating most of the teams in this league right now. Josh Allen, I don't think has looked as good since he had that elbow injury, but I mean, he's still getting things done, as we saw yesterday. But yeah, I mean, the defense is banged up. Obviously, see what happens with Von Miller here. I still think they're the number 2 team in this league right now, though, and until they start losing more games, I think it'll stay that way.
By the way, from Rap Sheet, Von Miller, a lateral meniscus tear. They are in wait-and-see mode. Surgery is likely, but might not be till after the season. The question becomes, can he play through that?
Oh, gosh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I hate that. What was I going to – was that yesterday watching them, was that the calmest you've ever seen anybody drop a snap, pick it up, and then just walk into the end zone?
Yeah, ridiculous.
And they were saying that him dropping the snap somehow opened up the hole for him to take. I wanted to look at the replay again and see how that happened, but, yeah, it was – great play.
Like not jittery.
Yeah.
Like he was playing a backyard game.
It's just very
Oh, yeah, I got this.
No
and
worries.
then just lopes in.
Yeah.
All right, so KC number 1 compliments of Bishop. Buffalo number 2 compliments of Poisal. Number 3, Zagura.
I'm going to take a team that's beaten Buffalo and is undefeated when its quarterback starts and finishes the game. The Miami Dolphins. I think people are sleeping on the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are legit. I can't believe it, but I really do. They can run it now with Jeff Wilson. Their defense is bolstered with Bradley Chubb. They're going to get healthier on the back end as the season progresses. And then what they're doing offensively is very difficult to deal with. I like the Dolphins number 3, just ahead of Nerd.
All right, thoughts on the top 3 so far?
I like the Dolphins.
I was going to go Nate here. I mean, so I'm picking 4, so that tells you where I'm going at number 4. So I'm in a similar. I feel similarly. I think that the 49ers have a little higher ceiling for me, and I think they might be tougher to beat right now. And I think they're getting healthier. But I also understand they have 4 losses, and so there's got to be, I suppose, some penalty for that. I don't have a problem with Miami being 3rd, though. They're right there. They're terrible.
I would have had them 2nd, honestly. I would have had Miami 2nd, Niners 3rd.
Niners 3rd, yeah. So
all right, Bishop, that goes to number 4.
Yeah, that's it. It's the Niners. I think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. I think they're the most terrifying team in the NFC. I think Garoppolo is playing with all sorts of moxie. I think they have so many weapons. I mean, they unlocked Kittle last time out. They're just going to start drilling people. And as Kyle gets more and more, as all these guys start to get more and more familiar with, especially McCaffrey, he has never played in anything like this. That he gets to play in San Francisco, and they're going to get healthier defensively as it goes along.
I believe
I like this Niners
Armstead's
team.
Back today practicing. He won't play Sunday, but we're going to get him back here in the next 10 days.
They feel really good. So I'm very comfortable with them at 4.
On to number 5 in our little power poll rankings. Compliments of the Ohio Lottery. Poisal, the pick is to you.
Yeah, so the one team I think we haven't touched on yet has been the Eagles, but that's actually not who I'm going with at number 5, and that's because I think the Cowboys are actually better than the Eagles right now. I have not been as high on the Eagles after these last 2 weeks. I mean, they just barely beat the Colts, and obviously they had that loss to the Commanders that ended their perfect season. I actually think the Cowboys would beat the Eagles right now. I think Dak Prescott has looked pretty smooth, not perfect necessarily, but smooth since he came back from that injury, and makes the Cowboys a legit contender. And, I mean, defensively, they're just lights out. They're as good as it gets in the NFL right now. They haven't allowed more than 30 points in a game this season, I don't think. So I would actually put the Cowboys at number 5 over the Eagles.
Same.
Zagura, pick number 6 to you.
I'll put the Eagles there. And I'd been fine with the Eagles at 5, Cowboys at 5. It didn't really matter that much to me. But I like the Eagles in this spot. I still think that they are a very good offense. They are a very good defense. They're a complete team, and they're going to have some lulls, but good teams find a way to still win. The Buffalo Bills, we didn't give them a big hassle for barely beating the Detroit Lions, and they just did what they had to do ultimately to get the win, and that's what they did in Indianapolis last week. I still think they're a very complete team. Jalen Hurts, we'll see how far he can take them. I mean, that's really the question.
Yeah, when is their schedule toughen?
At the end.
It's coming, right? Because it's so they have Packers this week. Oh yeah, the next 3 they get Packers, Titans, at Giants, and then their schedule is actually really easy all the way through. Then
I think it was easy all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, at Bears, at Cowboys, Saints, and Giants. So it's been a really nice schedule for them to navigate. Now in this league, as we know, you still got to win them, but but they've done a nice job navigating it. So what are we at? Is it me?
The Green Bay Sunday Night Football thing is interesting because is Aaron Rodgers want to play this week? Is what it comes down.
Well, he told you he hurt his thumb.
Yeah, he's already setting you up.
I thought he sounded like he was definitely still going to play though,
he's
right?
Gonna
Like,
play,
oh, he's playing.
Yeah.
It's just the tone during the week, and we
Just
got
trying
to
to
be
put an
better. at
excuse
this,
out there.
We got to do this, and then he goes
Feels
out
like-
and throws for 3 bills and 3 touchdowns.
I felt like he's kind of invigorated by Christian Watson the last couple of weeks. Like,
Yeah, feels like
he
fun.
trusts him a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So you've got 3 AFC teams in your top 3, 3 NFC teams then 4 through 6. Number 7, Bishop.
This is really where it gets crapshooty, honestly, because there's a lot of ways that you could go here at this spot. I think that the right thing to do is probably go Minnesota here, but the other teams that I considered, honestly, were Cincinnati and Tennessee, but I will go Minnesota here at 7, and I think a lot of these teams are kind of similar. I think Cincinnati's got a higher ceiling than Minnesota, but Mixon's down with the concussion. Sounds like Chase is probably going to go. He's practiced all week, but we'll see. But I like this Minnesota team. I will say this about Minnesota: they're not good. They haven't been good defensively for the last couple of weeks, but offensively they can do a lot of things. And if they're playing in domes, which it's likely they will, they might end up being the number 1 seed by the time this thing's all said and done. Their path is one that's pretty navigable for them.
Poisel to pick number 8.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with one of the teams that you didn't mention in that list there, Bo, and that's the Ravens. They've won 4 straight games while battling some injuries to some of their top guys on offense, like Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, who I think has played the last 2 games but was out at the beginning of that winning streak. And I think most importantly, they've looked really good on defense after some pretty inconsistent games at the beginning of the year where they just weren't able to finish in the fourth quarter. And now those problems look like they're gone, at least on the defensive side of the ball. And just with their schedule being so ridiculously easy, I know it's going to be tough to maybe kind of gauge them down the end of the season as far as where they rank among the best teams. But right now, with just what they've shown on defense and how they've played without some of those top weapons, like I said, on offense, I think the Ravens would be at number 8 here.
Yeah, Ravens offense started great, defense not so great, and it's kind of flip-flopped.
Yep.
And we'll see what that offense can do here going forward.
Mm-hmm.
They're the Philly of the AFC. Like,
I'll give you that.
I mean, the last 2 wins,
it's a fair comparison.
They beat the Saints. They beat the Panthers. Look at the next group: at Jaguars, Denver, at Pittsburgh, here, Falcons, Steelers, Bengals. Like it's
a very
they're
easy
going to win the
schedule.
division. And the Bengals, conversely, I'm sure we'll get to them in the next couple here. The Bengals schedule is brutal down the stretch.
Yeah. I still think they're ahead of the Bengals and Titans, though, just because the Ravens did beat the Bengals this year, and I would still think that they could beat them right now. And there's just something about the Titans that I don't know. I just don't like. I don't think they're a team that's necessarily built to beat the top teams in this league right now. I don't know. We'll see.
I think they're built, though, to beat a team like the Ravens, I would argue. They can run it on the Ravens, and they have the athletes and the defense to shut down the Ravens. The Ravens are having a tough time scoring points.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it 9. I'm putting the Titans at 9. Now you get Titans-Bengals this week, so maybe you'll get a little answer on that. Of course, I still want to get the Chargers in there. I think from a talent standpoint, they could be there, but so many injuries just absolutely ravaged that team. But I think the Titans have to be in the top 10. They're just impressive. They play their style. It's different than a lot of other team styles, and they're able to just pound you with Derrick Henry and play great defense, and that's what they do.
All right, guys.
Treylon Burks going a little bit for them, too.
Yeah, it's
now.
helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt.
Number
That
10
helps.
between the 3 of you. Who should be number 10?
I guess for me it'd be between Cincinnati would be the one I would lean into a little bit. I like your Chargers thing, 5-5. I can't believe that team's 5-5. That's just ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It feels like the Sean Payton landing spot if there is one. If they have the stones to fire a coach. But those would be the 2 I would consider at 10.
Yeah, I'd lead with the Bengals here, especially with them getting Jamar Chase back. I mean, that's obviously a huge difference maker for their offense. And I'd say it's the Bengals over the Chargers just because I think the Bengals are less banged up. That's what it comes down to right now.
Yeah, Bengals and the other team that I would even obviously beyond the Chargers that I'd consider are the Bucks. They have not been impressive, but that's a team that you feel like is dangerous at any time.
2 straight losses for Dan Dimes, too, as they've dropped to 7-4 now.
Is there a chance
Yeah, we
that
should have had
either
3-0.
team
Mar-
makes the playoffs? Can the Giants screw this up after starting off 7-2 and not make the playoffs?
Hard to in the NFC.
Hard in the NFC to not be a wild card unless they totally just fall down.
Yeah, I'd have to look at their schedule to see for sure. But like I was talking about with Cincinnati's stretch here, it's brutal in the biggest possible way. They had to beat Pittsburgh. They really have to beat Tennessee this weekend. It's Chiefs at home, us at home, at Bucks, at Patriots, Bills at home, Ravens. That's how they close it.
That's as hard as it gets, I feel like. I don't know what
That's
the stats
brutal.
say, but I think that's got to be the hardest schedule of all 32 teams, right? That has to be.
Has to be. Yeah. It's got to be the hardest closing stretch
No doubt.
that they've had. I will say this about Cincinnati. They haven't, other than they lost the opener to Pittsburgh, but other than that, they've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. There's not a blemish on here where you go, how the heck did they lose that? Although they were drilled by us, which in
I was
I was
going
gonna
to
say the one game.
I say
Than
that
us.
us.
I guess I
Really
look at
good.
us different. I feel like we should, for whatever reason, we don't match up well for them, but they have handled their business pretty good. All right, good stuff out of you, Poisel. Very good job, my friend.
Awesome. Love it,
Hey,
guys.
Pete.
All right, nothing quite like tailgating touchdowns and twisted tea. It tastes just like real iced tea. You know why? Because it's made with real brewed tea, cool, refreshing, and a 5% kick of alcohol. It's thirst down and goal. Twisted tea, hard iced tea. Keep it twisted. Coming up next, your game day forecast, your keys to victory scores at the bottom of the hour. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Skip the chore of lunch. 30% off dry cleaning for the month of November. Just mention promo code Browns. Visit TideCleaners.com to find the closest location to you. Some exclusions may apply. Your game day forecast brought to you by Carrier, a partner of the Cleveland Browns. Looks like it's going to be in the mid-50s Sunday. Chances of rain are 100%. Rainfall could be upwards of a half an inch. High wind gusts possible as well in this one. Wind from the south at 15 to 25 miles an hour with a chance for some gusts. So down at the lake, probably not great on Sunday, though it won't be cold. So when have we had one of these, like a 55 and rainy and windy?
Yeah, not often, rain's tough, but it'll be, it won't be as bad as that freezing rain that we sometimes get when it's in the 30s, and that is just miserable.
Yeah, so it's a manageable rain. The wind gusts could be tricky down there. That's the one thing that jumped out to me with gusting up to 25, 30 miles an hour. That can start to be a problem by the time you get to that. All right, time for your keys to victory, and for that we go to Dr. Z.
All right, listen, you're dealing with this Buccaneers team that knows how to play the game at a high level. You've got Tom Brady orchestrating their offense. They're going to take care of the football. They don't turn it over. Fewest giveaways in league. So that means for us, we can't give away the football. We never win the turnover battle. We've got to be even on that at a minimum. And I think that will be critically important. Number two, you got to slow down the running game. And the last few weeks, just so bad on the ground, too easy for other teams. Don't let Rashad White start gashing you, because then Tom Brady is going to make you pay with play action, getting the ball to Mike Evans, who needs just 28 yards for 10,000 on the season, and Godwin, who's got 6+ catches, it feels like every single game this year since he's come back from his injury. So I think it's critically important. You kind of stop the run. You force them into some obvious passing situations. Look, Tom Brady's great at it, but he is throwing it short. If we come up and tackle, we should have a little bit of an opportunity there. And then for us offensively, I said it. Take care of the football, reestablish Nick Chubb in this ground game, and then when we're able to take shot plays down the field, hit them. Now, that's kind of what we've been doing, with the exception of being able to get that Nick Chubb going. That's kind of been the bigger problem for the Browns of late, was getting that ground game going, and hopefully they will be able to do that.
Yeah, it feels like that second possession for us, right? Like,
yep.
We usually score in that first one. It's like the two most important possessions, it feels like the last month or so, Z, has been that second possession for us and then that last possession before half. Those just have not gone our way, and when they haven't, it just waterfalls on us.
Yep, and that's been the big problem. When things have kind of gone against us, that's where we have just completely, unfortunately, we've fallen apart, right? I mean, that's the way you say it, is we've, a little bit of adversity has derailed this football team, both offensively and defensively. I think it's almost like they feel it even more, and that has been, I think, the main reason why this team has not been able to win. It's like you start off with a touchdown, then you have a little bit of a lull, and then the defense is playing well at the beginning, and then they're like, all right, it just almost feels like it all unravels right away. And then the other thing I would add is special teams, man. I mean, we gave up another big punt return that allowed the Bills to get 3 points without even getting a first down. And you say to yourself, how does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? And, well, the answer is we just frankly have not been good enough at that level. And so when you take a team, when you're not the better team, and we could say, oh, well, look what we have on paper and this, that, and whatever. The way we've played, we have not played like the better team. Your special teams needs to be neutral or positive for you to have a chance to win. And too often ours has not been that.
Yeah, it's been a hindrance.
Detriment.
And it needs to be neutral. At worst is neutral, and with the way that we pay attention to it, it should honestly be better. And then you can't give up these type of. I hope we get that part of it fixed. This gashing that has happened to us in the ground from opposition, like just giving up career games, season career games every single week to the opposing running game. That is not a way to win in the National Football League in any way, shape, or form. So let's hope that's sorted out and not make a hero out of Rashard White, make him any better than he already is. You do those things, you certainly got a puncher's chance in this one. And we want to remind you to join us this Tuesday, November 29th, 1 to 3. We're broadcasting for Buffalo Wild Wings in Avon Lake. Enjoy Wing Tuesday with us. Buy one, get one, equal value, 50% off of traditional wings. Some exclusions may apply. Dine in only. Visit the Cleveland Browns Facebook page to learn more. The Scores coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. always wanted. If you wanted a spa-like experience in your wet space in your bathroom, that's what they can do. Let the Bath Authority make it a real dream for you in a fraction of the time of the competitors. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's best bath and shower remodeler by far. Expert and factory-trained installers. You give them a call now, you get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. That number is 216-220-8399, or go to thebathauthority.com. Affordability, quality in the same place. Enormous selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding in about a day. Acrylic tubs that insulate and keep the heat in. Tub to shower conversions. Simply put, superior products with expert installers at the Bath Authority at 216-220-8399. All right, time for some scores. Hello, Gibby.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
First and foremost, before we get into this and before you give us your numbers for the week and you all take your victory lap, well deserved.
Yep.
I would be remiss if I did not shout out one Bernard Kosar. Kind of a big day today.
The great Bernie.
Happy birthday to number 19.
To the king.
To the king. Yes.
Much
Happy
love,
birthday,
and hope
Bernie.
you have a great weekend.
I think I think when all is the middle of legacy writing for him, I think he will go down, for those of us who have experienced it, as the most popular individual athlete in any city ever.
Yep, I agree.
I think you think about the ones who are close, it's probably like Magic in Los Angeles. I'm guessing like Larry in Boston. But it's a short list.
He's so singular though here. He really is. It's crazy.
It is.
It's well deserved. It's awesome. But that's the thing that struck me about Cleveland fandom immediately when I came here was there was no doubt in my mind that Bernie Kosar and the Browns teams of the 80s were a bigger deal here than Joe Montana and the Niners teams of the 80s are in the Bay Area.
Yep.
And they won 4 Super Bowls.
Correct. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. God bless him. Happy birthday, Bernie.
Yes.
Time for week 12 of the scores. A continuance, because we had 3 scores already.
Yeah.
Segura, did you already go through the records? I don't know if
No, we
did.
had a good week last week. 9 and 5 for me, 8 and 6 for Bo. We're both 30 games over 560 combined. It's incredible, actually.
I had
It's
someone
crazy.
come up to me, no names please, Wednesday night at the bar I was at, and they're like, there's one thing I do on Fridays on the drive home. I just listen and go back and find the scores. I
Right,
said, well,
baby.
congratulations on all your successes. And he said,
Yeah,
you
you're
have
welcome.
no idea.
Yeah, you are welcome. It's pure joy for us. People helping people. I don't love these lines this week, by the way.
Boy,
I don't
there
either.
are some numbers.
I don't either.
Let's get right into it. 2 teams that are just kind of hanging around in the National Football League, especially in that NFC playoff picture. The Atlanta Falcons are a half game out of first in the NFC South at 5-6. They head out on the road where they are 1-4 on the season, traveling to Washington. The Commies are 6-5 and riding a 2-game winning streak. Bishop, lead us off.
Yeah, Heineke's still the quarterback there, and he's been. They like it. He's not great, but they like playing for him.
They
And they
like
get
him.
behind him, and they love playing for Rivera. It seems like Chase Young is in. Is that right? It feels like
Feels
he's
that
in.
way.
I think so.
Yeah. So I like Washington in this one, 24-17. Give me the Commies.
Same. I just think their front is too good. They'll stop the run, and then they will harass Marcus Mariota, and I think they are in a great, great spot. I like the Commies as well. I say 24-7.
Beat down.
On to the AFC we go. The Baltimore Ravens have won 4 in a row. They are 7-3 on the road this week, where they are better on the road than at home. 4-1, a trip. Excuse me as I die.
Don't go die on us.
Good
Gibby.
God.
I'm not-
Gibby.
I'm not trying to die. As they go to the armpit of America, yes, Jacksonville awaits.
You hate
at
Jacksonville.
3-7 on the football season. Jags, Ravens, Zagura.
This line makes no sense to me. I would think it would be much bigger than it is. The Ravens certainly were not impressive in that game against the Carolina Panthers, but they won anyway. And I think they win this one too, 13-12.
Oh, boy. Pay attention to the scores. This one has actually gone down in a day. It's gone down a half point. So many people are thinking what you're thinking, Dr. Z. I, however, am not. I like Baltimore winning this one 17-10.
I'm with you. That's what my logic tells me. But this feels like it feels like a trap.
It does, yeah.
The New York Football Jets have a new quarterback, and the Jets playing host to the Chicago Bears, who are 3-8 on the football season. The Jets 6-4, but feel like they're trending the opposite way. Justin Fields will play.
Yeah,
in this
do we
game.
get Justin Fields? What's the deal?
I don't think so. The line would suggest no, because this was 4.5 yesterday.
Okay.
So it's trending like he won't go.
Like he won't, yeah.
Sad. Jets,
Well, the line
Bears, Bishop, as I look it up and see where we're at.
Trevor
Is Zach
Siemian.
Wilson playing?
No.
No.
Jets, Jets. I like the Jets by 7 in this one. And with no Fields, I don't even know how Chicago's going to operate. So I like this Jets team getting a little bit of Ewing theory with Zach Wilson out.
I like the Jets as well. If Fields plays, I would like the Bears, but given that we think that he's not, in this case, I'll take the Jets as well. I like their defense. I like their defense quite a bit.
I mean, Fields talked to the media this week. I feel like everything is trending toward him, but
He had separated shoulder. I mean, what are they even doing? Like, if he has any shoulder thing, shut him down. What are you doing?
Let's not get crazy here. Let's take a week or so, and then we'll
Whatever.
reassess.
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, fantasy.
Yeah, come on, shut
You don't
down.
need to
relax.
I'm going. What do you want to get him back in there for? Oh yeah, the fantasy angle.
Yeah, just come back and let me see in week 15 when I need you in the playoffs, or week 16. Take a month off.
all right, up next, a big one in the AFC if you're looking for playoff posturing, as the Tennessee Titans 7-3 on the football season play host to the Cincinnati Bengals. No Joe Mixon, big shock. Jamar Chase, a game-time decision, but I would think all indications are Chase will return for the Bengals. Zagura, lead us off here, 7-3 versus 6-4.
Yeah, this is the one that I got the most wrong in the guess the lines because I thought Tennessee would be favored. And I actually like this Tennessee team. I've come a full 180 on them, turned around completely. Yep. I like this team. I like Derrick Henry. I think they match up well with the Bengals and what they like to do. And I think Tennessee is going to win this game. And I think they don't even need to win it, but I think they will win it outright by 3, 27-24 Titans.
This line has moved a point in Cincinnati's favor. It was 1.5. It's now 2.5. I'm going to go with the public on this one. I get Cincinnati. I'm going to go your score except inverted. Cincinnati 27, Tennessee 24.
Ooh, very nice. Up next, Sam Darnold makes his debut this week as starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Panthers hosting Denver. Arguably, there's no argument. It is the worst game of the week in the National Football League. Denver 3-7 on the year. Carolina 3-8. Bishop.
Look, both these teams stink. This one has actually moved 1.5 down as well. So this always makes me nervous when I see these. They shouldn't move this much in 48 hours. That's a lot of movement. I'm going to go opposite public on this one. I like Broncos country. Let's ride. Winning by 3 in Carolina, 23-20.
Broncos 2, Panthers 0.
Is that voice going to hold out by Sunday? Are we going to be all right?
What do you mean?
You need some lemon and honey.
I feel fine.
You could feel fine, but sounding is a little rough.
It's Friday.
He's going to rest it.
I know. I've
Lemon
been
and
down
honey.
this road a couple times this year.
Yeah, no. I'm in no danger of losing my voice.
All right.
By the way, it sounds sultry.
I do like it. There's a time like when to be like a television news anchor, you had to smoke 15 packs of cigarettes a day and have that voice. Yeah. Everybody I worked with when I was a kid that was like an old school news guy, they always had that voice.
You saw the clip of that old clip for the guy, the newsman who had that voice in Michigan doing the whole thing about why everybody's all
That's what actually got me thinking about it.
Yeah, that guy was so
that
great.
exactly. Like that was so great.
So great.
And that guy, how many packs of Pall Malls did that guy plow through?
Just cartons.
Yeah.
You want to talk about big numbers? This is a big one. This is a big matzo ball right here. Miami hosting Houston. Quarterback news, Kyle Allen starts for Houston on Sunday.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't even know who that is.
I believe he was
kid
with
who-
Washington or Carolina. He was with one of those two at
He
some
is. So here's the little
There's a
backstory.
Brandon Allen.
We'll do a 45-second Kyle Allen history. Kyle Allen was a 5-star quarterback recruit who committed to Texas A&M. He's the same age as Kyler Murray. They both were at Texas A&M at the same time. I think he might actually be a year older. He transferred out back to Arizona. I can't remember if he was going to go to Arizona or Arizona State. Never played there. Never played at Texas A&M. Kind of went the back way into the league, and somehow is still on a roster. But neither
A&M
he nor Kyler ever played at A&M.
Texas,
I mean, they played, but they both
it has
left.
him Wikipedia because Wikipedia is always right.
Yeah.
Texas A&M 14-15, University of Houston 16-17.
That's right, because he went with Tom Herman there. That's right.
Undrafted in 2018, was with the Panthers in 18-19, and I know he played.
Yeah.
Washington in 20 and 21, and then this year with the Houston Texans.
Look, I got Miami. I don't know who's up. I got Miami covering this. I'm curious. Do you as well, Z?
I do, yeah.
So
I mean, it's
what would
huge
be a number that you would say no?
17.5.
I was even thinking higher, but yeah. I mean, it's got to be.
That's
This
big
team is inept.
number, and we got a bigger one coming.
Yeah.
I know. I don't like any of these lines.
Yeah, they're not good.
All right, next up, guys, an AFC NFC West matchup. Las Vegas 3-7 on the year, 1-5 on the road, traveling to Seattle to battle the 6-4 Seahawks, who seem to be. I don't want to say they're struggling, but I feel like the fast start has kind of gone away here a little bit, and Seattle's staying afloat right now. But the Raiders, no pushover, indeed. Zagura, lead us off.
This game's gross.
It's awful.
Yeah, it is.
Awful. I think the Seahawks win it. Seahawks 78. Raiders 75.
Same. This is an old AFC West matchup, right?
Yep.
I mean, remember that as a kid? I used to see a
Yes.
steady diet of Seahawks and Raiders in the old AFC West. I'm with you. I like Seattle by 3, so pay attention to the scores there, kids.
Up next, another one, AFC West, NFC West matchup. The Los Angeles Chargers, 5-5 on the football season, traveling to Arizona. Cliff, Kyler and company. I don't know. Is Kyler playing? Arizona's 4-7. Does it matter if he plays or not? The team sucks.
They do.
Bishop, what say you?
So this one moved a 1.5 down in 48 hours, which to me makes no sense. I was comfortable the other way where it was before. I'm comfortable now. I think the Chargers getting a little bit healthier. They're just much, much better. I like the Chargers, maybe even in a blowout in this one, 38-17, 38-20.
Same. 100% same.
Yeah.
To the biggest number of the week in Week 12 of the National Football League.
Okay.
Man, I had to do a double check and a triple check. I'm like, is this wrong? Is this what? Is this a misprint? I don't know if I've seen one this big. And oh, by the way, it's the defending Super Bowl champs, the Rams.
Yeah, who's their starting
on
quarterback?
The road, taking on Kansas City. The Chiefs 8-2. The Rams are a mess.
Is this the biggest underdog that a defending Super Bowl champion has ever been?
Yes.
Has to be.
I have to think so.
Has
I
to
mean,
be.
I just can't imagine there's been one bigger, and it's huge. It actually it's actually went up a point too in 48 hours.
Yeah.
This is similar to the Miami one. What's the number that would make me
This is
hesitate?
Vegas begging you to come in.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm going to stay out. I'm going to take Kansas City to win by 17 in this one. Kansas City 38, ram it 21.
Same. There's no way we get both Miami and Kansas City.
No.
None.
Zero chance. Zero chance.
In fact, it is much more likely that you'd go 0 for 2 taking the favorites
Correct.
in those games than you will go 2-0 taking favorites.
And
which
this
we just
season,
did.
as we've illuminated many times, not only do those teams not win or not cover, they lose. I can't
Lose.
imagine that.
No.
But that's what history has shown us this year.
Yeah, I don't like this week.
No.
Not so great. 2 games left. Next up, Pedro's 49ers playing host to the New Orleans Saints. San Fran 6-4. They shouldn't be called San Fran. They should be called something else because they don't play in San Fran. 49ers Saints.
So then what are you going to call the Giants? The New Jersey Giants?
I mean, you could do that.
The
Why not?
Landover, Maryland commies?
Fine. Done. Makes total sense.
You have to
me.
live in the city proper?
Anarchy. Let's get out. Let's do this.
This is outrageous.
It's an outrageous.
The 49ers play like 2 hours away from San Francisco.
The Cowboys don't play in Dallas.
No. Foxborough?
Come
Call them
on.
the Foxborough Patriots. I think that.
I guess they are New England.
That would be a
so
cool
that's
little
fair.
logo. I feel like.
They're not the Boston Patriots. They're the New England Patriots.
That's right.
All right.
Again, this is another monster line. I just can't take all of these huge ones. I think this one ends similarly to the Giants-Dallas. The game is completely over. Something happens. They climb inside the number. Niners 30, Saints 23.
Look, there's no way that I'm getting all 3 of these right, but it's my whole year with this thing. I just go with what the gut tells me, and the old
That's
gut
right.
tells me San Francisco handles its business. So I acknowledge I'm not going to get all 3 of these big ones right, but I got to roll with my Niners in this one. I like them 31-21.
All right.
Sunday Night Football, wrapping up Week 12. We will have a Monday night game, but wrapping up a Friday edition of the scores. It's the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers and his thumb issues traveling to Philly to take on the 9-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Bishop.
I think this could be a tricky one for Philly. They're going to wear their black hats. Did you see that? They're wearing the black helmets this week.
I like that.
Philly is. I knew that you would. I knew that's in your wheelhouse.
That's right.
I like Philly winning a little closer, though. Give me the Eagles 24 and the Packers 21.
Same. I wrote Green Bay, then Philly, then Green Bay, then Philly, and then I just settled on Green Bay. I feel like I'll just take the points and hope that they can somehow get inside that number. It's not anything that I'm excited about.
No.
I think this is a week that if I was out there in the real world, these big number games, I would be staying away from. There's not a whole lot that I love this week.
No. I'm with you. There's not a whole. I loved Minnesota yesterday, and I love Detroit. But other than that, this is tough. I love Dallas though too, and they blew it at the end. So you never.
They
know.
had it though. I mean,
they did.
They
totally had it.
We were directionally correct.
We were. Be sure to stop by free Twisted Tea Tailgate pregame party prior to every home game. Twisted Tea Tailgate is located on the west side of First Energy Stadium, combines the atmosphere of a beer garden, live music, food, and drink options, along with areas for socializing. Twisted Tea Tailgate opens 4 hours prior to kickoff and is open to fans with a ticket to the game. Our score and the game score coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. You're on the injured list. Game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Big one down in Columbus tomorrow, high noon. Buckeyes and Wolverines.
Let's go.
Buckeyes favored by 8 in this one. There's a lot of ways this can go. There's so many injury variables. We're not sure who's going to be there from a running back standpoint at Michigan. If Corum and Donovan Edwards can play, it's been mum's the word all week long from that camp. Same thing with the Buckeye camp. We don't know what's going on with Mayan Williams, if he's going to play in the game or not. I do think that the weather tomorrow in Columbus is pristine. So it's supposed to be mid to high 50s and sunny with no wind. That sets up really nicely for their skill position players and their quarterback. I do like the Buckeyes winning this one by 10-ish, 38-28, something like that. I think they get a score late to go up 2 scores and kind of cruise from there. It's rare that you get this, where you get these two teams playing both undefeated. It's only happened 4 times undefeated. It's happened, it's 8 times undefeated, only 4 times unblemished in the history. They've been playing for 118 years. So they have both done their part to give you what should be a spectacular game on Sunday, to say the least. I think it'll come down to Ohio State's ability in the spine of their defense to tackle, especially if Corum plays, to get him to the ground and not get bullied. Because last year they gave up 300 yards rushing to Michigan. Everything they've done this offseason has been to prevent that from happening again. My hunch is that it will come to serve.
1 minute.
It's a 10-point. Does Michigan still get in at that?
Well, they need TCU to lose. They would need Georgia to win out, and they would need USC to lose, because there's a lot of USC love right now. So that's the other thing you kind of have to worry about. They wouldn't be out of it with a 10-point loss, though. Anything less than that, I think they'd be very firmly still very much in it.
Okay.
Us and Bucks, how do you see it, Dr. Z?
30.
Tough game. I hope we find a way. Send Jacoby Brissett out with a big win, 24-23 Browns.
Let's go. Come on, Jacoby. Let's let Jacoby hear it on Sunday, guys. He's been unbelievable all season long with what he's been asked to do. Enjoy your football weekend. We're back Monday to break it all down, and the next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet on 850 ESPN Cleveland.